Okay, thank you all for being here. This is the October 20th, 2020 regularly scheduled meeting for the Atherton SBDM Council. Your agenda is posted in the Google Drive and was sent to you by email. If you would go ahead and open up that Google Drive if you have access to it. I wanted to point out that I added a handout. I just added it within the last few minutes, a handout for our budget as of today. It's in there. So it's, I wanted to be able to, as much time as I have, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of us that have to go off to an academy meeting as quickly as possible upon the conclusion of this meeting. So I wanted to be as efficient as possible. Today's regularly scheduled meeting, I wanted to be able to talk about just all the requirements that we have to do as a council. We talked about that last time, but I didn't have a process for taking care of the paperwork. I'm sorry for looking up, but the bigger screen's easier to see you all on, so I'm actually making eye contact with you. So let's, while you're accessing that Google Drive, I'll kind of go through our agenda here. It is, so we came to order at 2:31 p.m. We have a guest, Ms. Schiffler. Hello. Let's see, approval of SBDM minutes. All those minutes have been uploaded into that drive for all our special called meetings. I believe we technically took care of all of them except for the October special called meeting minutes, which I sent to you by email and uploaded to that drive. The October special called meeting was the discussion. That meeting was specifically and solely for the discussion of our school mascot. No action was taken, given that it's not a site-based, that action is not within site-based authority, but we had, I think, a good groundwork for that discussion. And I wanted to, I want to let you all know, I guess, there are communication next steps that are occurring from here. And I appreciate your all's participation in the site-based meeting, the special called meeting last week to help frame the discussion on that. Any questions about the minutes from the special called meeting? And I guess we're approving the minutes for the special called meeting and the minutes for our September regularly scheduled meeting that we had. Do you all need time to pull those up and look at them? Have you had time to look at them? Do you have any questions about what was covered? Somebody have the date for the September one?
I believe it's September 29th.
Was that it? Okay, thank you. So the September 29th and then October 6th.
October 6th.
Are the 2 minutes we're needing to approve? Anybody want more time to look at them or talk about them? Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Seconded. Anybody?
Second.
All
Second.
right. Anybody have any problems with it? All right, then we approve by consensus. So formally I'll put in the minutes, there was a motion, a second, and then consensus. Since we are a decision-making council that approves things through consensus. So. All right, review racial equity analysis protocol. I think we said we try to go through alphabetical order on this. Who puts that? Ms. Anderson, would you feel comfortable? Do you have it in front of you that you could read the REAP protocols for our SBDM?
I do. I was anticipating this. So the racial equity analysis protocol, 1, what is the overarching purpose of the policy, procedure, or practice? 2, which racial, gender, or other groups could be inequitably affected by this policy, procedure, or practice, and how? 3, which racial, gender, or other group will have the most concerns with this policy, procedure, or practice, and why? 4, what unintended consequences could result from the policy, procedure, or practice, such as racial or gender inequities? 5, have stakeholders, particularly those most impacted by this decision, have the stakeholders been meaningfully informed or involved in the discussion of the policy, procedure, or practice? What was the feedback? 6, what factors may be producing and perpetrating inequities associated with this issue? Does this policy, procedure, or practice deepen these inequities or improve them? 7, is the policy, procedures, or practice resourced to guarantee full implementation and monitoring? And 8, who, such as an individual or group, is the main driver for improving equity for this particular policy, procedure, or practice?
Thank you. So I think that as we were engaged in the discussion in our last meeting, those types of questions really help us dig deeper into thinking about the impact of the decisions that we make as a council, with the decisions that are within the authority of this leadership group and our responsibility collectively. It's something that I'm trying to be very cognizant about within my position of authority on decisions that I have effect on as well. So we're moving on to part 4, individuals wishing to address council. It looks like we lost Ms. Schiffler. I wonder if we just lost connection. I don't know that she was interested in talking, but she reached out to me a couple months ago wanting to watch one of our site-based council meetings. So we'll move on to 5, SBDM training requirements. So we talked about your duty under law and then managing records. So the duty under law really talks about our responsibility of meeting in a public forum and being careful about not subverting our responsibility to have our conversations in the public light as elected representatives for each of our role groups. Except for me, I'm appointed, but the rest of us were elected into these positions, so we have to keep our conversations public and not have backdoor private conversations that would influence decision making within the council, because the public has a right to sit in and listen to our conversations. The other, managing government records, is largely the burden falling on me. I can turn my laptop, but right over that direction is a bookshelf that has over 10 years worth of binders on it of SBDM meeting minutes and handouts and everything, so that if someone wanted to, they could come in this office, sit down, and rifle through all the discussions that have been happening that by our site-based councils that have affected decision making over the last 10 years or more. So that's where managing government records comes into play. Then your responsibility as a council is to submit a proof of receipt. Typically, I just take this piece of paper, each of us gets one, we pass it all, everyone signs their own, and everyone turns it into me. We don't really have that easy availability in this setting, so I need, if you can't print it, I've got some directions. I found them finally, some directions in a PDF of how to like digitally sign a PDF. If it's possible for you to print it, hard copy, fill it out, and just snap a picture. You can always text to email. I do that all the time right now. I'm doing it very, very frequently, daily, with things that I sign here. So you can always send me a picture of it as well. Or if you need a hard copy, if you will email me your address, I will put the proof of receipt, just a hard copy in the mail it to you. You can sign it, snap a picture, and email it back to me. But if you take care of that as quickly as possible, I appreciate it. It was due last month, and we covered and discussed it. I just didn't, there wasn't the paperwork part of it to complete, and I should have been more on top of that part. Any questions or concerns about proof of receipt? If you have our current minutes, as they're coming in, as they were coming in before this meeting, I was adding them into our minutes received from such and such. And if you have access to the drive, you see that I have a folder just for those proof of receipts, as well as a folder for our training certificates as well. So I'm hoping you all have access to all those things. If not, let me show you. Let me share screen real quick so you can see what I see. And if you're not having that type of access, I may need to like share in other things with you. Give me just a minute. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, because I'm in the drive and I'm not seeing all the things that you're mentioning. I only see 2 folders, one for minutes from last year and one for minutes from this year.
Really?
Same here.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
in the wrong one. So I think click on the second link that I just put in there, and I think that's the one that you need to go to.
The second link you put in
The
Okay.
chat
for the
yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah.
I
that
have that now, but that was not the link that the drive that was shared with me for whatever reason.
Well, let's get it figured out. Let's see.
Dr. Aberly, I'm going to go ahead and delete that other one. I just haven't
Okay.
done that yet. I'm going to do that, and then that way maybe I can go in and share with everyone
Okay.
as much as possible the other one.
I do have close to 30 windows open, so I'm gonna, when I screen share, it's gonna be a little challenge. Make sure I get the right thing going. Let's see, who do I see? Tess, I see your face. Do you see, oh, you were working on that other thing, weren't you? You see the Google Drive in front of me?
I do, yes.
Okay. So what I tried to share was this folder with you, and I may have to share every folder from within it. But when I click on this is what I see. But you all don't see that, do you?
No, click on the 2 people up there. It should show you who it was shared with.
Okay.
Because I don't even see that.
No, he didn't share it with everyone. He just made it so that everyone can click on the link, and then he shared it in the SBDM email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go.
So every time we have to click on that link to get and see it, whatever you put in there.
Well, wait a minute. So I'm trying to share with you the folder, the entire folder. Okay, so if you see what I'm doing here, I'm copying the link to the entire SBDM folder that I have here. I'm gonna put it in the, try to find where Zoom is now. Give me a minute. I think I have to stop sharing, yeah. I'm gonna put that in the chat.
I think Tessa just did that. Is that what you
Did
just
she?
did?
It's probably the same one then, hopefully. I don't know, mine's shorter.
Dr. Aberly,
Yeah.
if you want us to be able to access that like whenever, then I think when you click that share at the top, you have to type our names into it instead of copying the link. Because
Really?
then we will become like owners of the folder also, and it will go to our drive and we can access it from our drive. So like what Tessa did before was she created a shared drive that she gave us all access to, but you're just sharing the folder for us to be able to view. So I'm not sure what goal you want to accomplish.
Sure, I want
But
you to
they're
see
kind of
everything.
2 different things.
Yeah, I just sent you, Kim, I just sent you one. Will you check that out? And while we're doing that, I'd rather y'all have everything so that as I add it, I'm trying to make y'all viewers too, so that you don't accidentally delete something.
So I was able to open what you sent me, but I don't think I can save it to my drive, so I can open it later.
Well, yeah, but you don't, oh, what do you mean? Oh, save it to your drive to open later.
So like with the science department, I created a shared drive and I'm like the top level and everybody else is a lower level, so they have less rights than I do, but it's still in their drive and they can go to their shared drives and open it whenever they want. Which is something we can figure out later. I can either try to do that on my own, or you and I could get on a meet or something.
Yeah, and see
like
what
show you
what
how to
type
do
of
that,
access
as
y'all
long as we
need.
just have access to look at what we need to for the meeting right now.
Yeah. let's see. So, Mr. Smith, what's your email? Brian.Smith?
The one that I receive emails notifications from is Smith PB1 at bellsouth.net.
You say PV?
PB1, yes.
Okay. And Miss Anderson?
Use my Gmail account for this one. It's juliebell68@gmail.com.
At gmail.com?
Correct. That'll allow it to just be in my shared folders in my Gmail account, even though I use Yahoo for everything else.
So does everybody on here have access to the minutes and that folder now?
Yes.
Ms. Bell, I couldn't see if anything went to you. It's saying I think it said it was struggling. Give me a minute. I think I stretched it to its limits. I think so Mr. Smith, you got it, but Miss Anderson, you probably didn't, right? Because it froze on me. The other thing on the training requirements were the status of the email notifications. So if you would make sure that you've sent me that email that says that statement in it, that's what typically you're signing off on a piece of paper. So just sending an email.
Dr. I really have a question about the proof of receipt.
Uh-huh.
So I see the folder that has everyone's signed paper in it, but like where was the original? Was that in an email that you sent to us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You want me to, I can put one in there real quick here. Give me a second.
And I have not received that yet.
I don't recall that either.
The proof of receipt?
Mm-mm.
Okay. If y'all go out
Oh.
to the main folder, you see it in there now? It may take a minute to upload. It may take a minute to upload. It's showing a little.
I see it now.
Okay. Give me just a minute.
Make a copy of that before you type anything.
Let's see. All right, so Ms. Anderson, it's reached a point where it's not letting me do anything more, so I'll have to share it with you later. Again, I'm sorry, you seem to be the one I'm having trouble getting access to things to. Mr. Smith,
Okay.
are you actually in there being outside the network? You're muted.
And I've got the link, so I can just click on the link
Yeah.
anytime. So
And I'm actually in there as well. So yes, I did receive it.
And do you see agenda and minutes for 2 years ago, last year, and this year? You see
Yes.
REEF, good. Training search, dress code, all those folders.
All those are in there.
Great.
Yes.
So this is my collection. This is everything I have for SBDM. I keep it right here. As I refer to things, or if you want to go back and kind of search around on things that I have available, this is where I store everything.
and I don't know if you can delete any of the chats, but those links you may want to delete if you can, since people would have editing access, because anyone who views the meeting will have access to the chat.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to close that for now, but
I'm just not sure if you can delete once the chat started, so I have no
well,
idea.
you all shouldn't have editing access. Do
Okay,
you have
that's
editing?
good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's another that's good reason why I try to make it view only, so that I'm responsible for whatever's screwed up in there. Okay, so the getting a proof of receipt from everybody needs to be done ASAP, please. It was supposed to be done by October 1, and that's my mistake. I failed to take care of. We covered it, but I didn't collect anything on September 29th. Also, sending me that email of notification, verification. I've got it for Ms. Perrell, Ms. Slusher, Mr. Smith, Mr. Stutz, Ms. Uhl. I might have gotten it for others. I just had it printed out on that agenda yet. So as I was receiving them, I was adding them into the agenda prior to our meeting. And what I'll do now is add them to the minutes upon conclusion of this meeting. And then our regularly scheduled meeting SBDM dates for SBDM. If you would pull that up, that is under the general file here, I think. There it is. It's called 2020 Atherton SBDM regular meetings. It's under the main file. Before you go in, it's a main SBDM file, and there's folders. Then there's a few extra administrative files. SBDM regularly scheduled meetings. We had talked about meeting on Tuesdays at 2:30 during NTI. So I just not making any prediction, but continuing that through December, assuming we don't return to in person. If we returned in person, we'll just do a special called meeting for that, whatever month we pick up with. But then after starting in January, I'd like to move us back to the Thursdays at 3 o'clock, the way we normally are supposed to. We originally had this other date because for teachers' convenience with scheduling and everything, I think it's important for us to have regularly scheduled meetings that we're communicating out there. We've always met on Thursdays at that time. So is everybody okay with that? Can you make that time frame work with plenty of time ahead of time? Plenty of minutes ahead of time?
Ask a question.
Yep.
So yes, I can make that work. Absolutely. That's not a problem. If school goes back to in session or some form, are we going to stick to the Zoom format, or will we eventually move back to meeting in person?
I'd like us to meet in person when it's safe to do that. I guess that's the best way I can phrase it right now. You know, I think having a Zoom component may be important for the future as well, because even when it's okay to return, there may be people who are either unable, quarantined, or not comfortable with it for a while, right? So we'll probably have a hybrid at some stage.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Aberly.
Yep. Thank you. One final, under new business, as we're moving through the agenda, under new business, I put student representatives on council. Normally I have a principals forum, and I keep moving this mouse the wrong way because of the video camera. And normally I have a principals forum that's selected at the beginning of the year, and then that principals forum selects 2 students to have on our council. Because of NTI, I've been meeting with our class officers. I just came from a meeting before this one, and then I met with sophomore class officers before that. I've met with several student groups throughout the summer and the beginning of the school year. So I don't really have a format for having students on council selected yet. I'd like to have a little time to process what that might look like in the way of our class officers, having maybe our presidents or a class officer that's selected by the class president, and have those as our representatives on council. We only have traditionally had 2 representatives on council. So I would assume that would probably be our junior and senior class officers. I guess from a decision-making standpoint, would y'all be comfortable with that? It kind of deviates a little bit from the protocol, the procedure that we have posted on every agenda for the last 5 years or so, having a student on council. But if I offered it up to our class presidents or the president's designee of another class officer, would you all be comfortable with that? Would you rather it only be the class presidents? Would you like me to come up with some other method that would require me vetting through different groups and names of kids being submitted? Any opinion on it?
I mean, I think for the purpose of NTI, I think practicality is the way to go. I mean, that's the easiest way. I would like to maybe discuss a different method when we return back to normal, or whatever normal is going to be. But for right now, I think that for me, I'm fine. It's easy.
When you say returning back to normal, you mean we'd have different students now, but then when we come face to face, we'd come up with a new selection, or we'd do this for this year because of the nature of NTI?
We do this for this year.
Yeah.
When I say return back to normal, I'm assuming next year when we hopefully are in a different place.
Okay. Anybody else have a I guess what I'm saying is, for the sake of efficiency, can we have say the junior and the senior class president, I offer it up to them. If they say, Dr. Aberly, I'm a diploma candidate, and that just adds a level of stress I don't want to be involved in, then, then they can designate an officer from their slate, not any student, but an officer from their slate, and we offer it up to them. Does that sound like a plan? I'd like to get some students to be part of this. Trust me, it changes the nature of the conversation. Thank you. Excellent. Well, Ms. Beckley, Ms. Swanson, myself, Ms. Uhl, we all need to go to an academies training. So what I was hoping to do before we got kind of hung up on the folders thing, number one, I want to make sure you had access to the folders. Number two, the proof of receipt, I need that as quickly as possible, please, in any capacity that you can get that done. If you need me to send you a hard copy, I'll be happy to shoot it in the mail to you, and you can just get it back. You can receive it, fill it out, snap a picture, and email it to me. And then the email notification. I just uploaded the budget as of today. If you would take time to be looking at that, you all know I can speak. Those of you who've been around know that I can speak for a long time on our school budget. But I've been sharing with you a lot of the things because of the Section 4 and 5 form we signed on September 30th. We already kind of had that budget discussion. I was kind of hoping to bring it all together with our operational budget, and then the teacher vacancy cash-ins that we've done, what all those balances look like. If you would look at that, I'd love to talk to anybody individually and walk you through, like, this is what each of those line items means. And it could be a comfortable 15, 20-minute conversation of, hey, this is how the school budget works, and these are why money is where it is. And like when we did this back in July and September with our section 4 and 5 change forms, why it went where it did. So you can reach out to me individually, but I want you to have that. We'll talk about it more deeply in November, and our next regularly scheduled meeting is November 17th at 2:30. That's a Tuesday.
Where in the folder is the budget? Because I'm not seeing it.
It should be under the 2021 minutes and agenda stuff. It'll be under budget.
No.
So the agenda, minutes, and handouts always go in that. What I'll do is I'll clean up all these extraneous files and put them under an administrative folder for SBDM administrative files. And that way it'll be a little easier to find stuff. All right, I'm already going to get my rear end chewed for being late for this training I'm supposed to be in. Thank you all so much. Please reach out to me about budget if you want. That covers everything on our reports here. And I will see you next time. Thank you.